February 12th, 2012. The story is about a waitress. The waitress, our waitress, really. And the story of her retirement. This is a different sort of love story.
Interior, living room, 2012. One wall piece in the back completely blank except for one single old photo of the postman hanging right in the middle. A couch and an end table are downstage right. Margaret is sitting on the couch, sipping a cup of tea. There is no kettle or second cup on stage. After a few moments, there's a knock.
Yes? Who is it?
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm your new neighbor. I just wanted to come by and introduce myself.
I'm sorry, but I'm really busy. If you would please come back tomorrow, I would appreciate it.
I'm going to be spending some time tomorrow unpacking in the next few weeks. I'll be out of the state. Don't you want to meet your new neighbor?
Not particularly.
Please.
Fine. 1 minute.
Margaret gets up from the couch and moves stage left. She opens the door and walks back to the couch. Rachel enters, closes the door, and follows her, looking around in childlike bewilderment.
I'm Rachel.
I know. You told me already.
Oh, right. What's your name?
Margaret the waitress. I was a waitress.
Oh, are you married?
Well, I can see someone doesn't have any boundaries.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm just curious is all. I saw you had an old picture on the wall.
Have an old picture on the wall, dear. It didn't just up and walk away while we were talking.
Well, of course not. But
But you were curious, weren't you? Yes, I am married.
what does he do?
He's a postman.
How interesting.
It's quite mundane, actually. But he does have one of those fancy little white motor cars.
Is he working right now?
It's 6 in the evening. How late do you think he works?
Right. Of course.
Not to mention it's Sunday.
Is it? I thought it was Saturday.
Unorganized. Why am I not surprised?
So where is your husband?
He's out. He'll be back any minute.
Will I get to meet him?
Not today, I believe.
Do you have any other family?
I have a sister and a niece. They used to live here with us for a while. Even once they moved into their own home, my niece used to always come over to visit. But there was an incident once, and she stopped coming over. That was probably 20 years ago.
What sort of incident?
I have an old well on my property. She decided to explore the grounds and fell in.
How horrible! Was she okay?
Yes, of course she was, but it was still traumatizing for the poor child.
Is that a photo of him when he was younger?
What was that?
Your husband. Is that a photo on the wall of him when he was a young man?
Yes, right before he joined the Navy.
Oh, he was in the Navy. Which war?
He was drafted during the Vietnam War. Terrible times they were.
What was he?
A seaman. Have some decency.
I'm sorry, but you have this whole grand madam look when you said seaman. I thought it was funny. Sorry.
Well, Rachel, if you're quite through,
Why do you still have that old photo of him and not any newer ones?
it's sentimental. I keep this exact fading picture in this living room. A room once filled with smiles, might I add, and it was hung gently, almost like a crucifix, on this wall that stretched for miles, it seemed sometimes. I remember when he was first drafted, like it was yesterday.
Did he ever send you letters?
Always. Talking about his days at war. He would tell me about how the waves were dancing and how they rocked the boat atop the sea. And he would say to me, "Oh, my love, I'll wait for you if you promise to wait for me."
That's so romantic. What were you doing while you waited for him to come home?
I was here, working. The days were long and even lonelier. Arms on the clocks made circles as the weeks turned into months. Memories of his fingertips on my curvature. Anyway, I loved him far too much. It drove me insane, being apart.
What was it like not having him around?
It was quiet. Just quiet. I'd sit and watch as the seasons passed and those baleful waters would dash against the rocks.
Every day must have been terrifying, never knowing if he would ever come home safely.
They were the most terrifying times of my life. But I would always get his letters, and they always made me feel so much better. I imagined I was out atop the waters with him, dancing and dancing on top of the waves like an elegant masquerade ball.
It seems you were really in love with him. I wish I could find something even half as true as what you had.
Have, dear. You really need to work on talking present tense.
Still, I can't imagine. Weren't you afraid he would die before you ever got to see him again?
So many people are afraid of death. I know my beloved postman was. He shook in his boots before he left. But I don't feel that way. I think death is the great inferior, bringing us all together for the rest of eternity. Our life here on earth, in these bodies, is simply a selection process, breeding us one whole lifetime to determine who we want to spend the rest of forever with. And he chose me,
And you chose him!
Don't cut me off!
Sorry.
You should be. That's probably the reason you haven't met someone.
Excuse me?
Exactly.
You have no right.
You have no right to tell me what I can and can't say in my own house. Young lady, you told me yourself that you don't have anybody in your life.
But
If you didn't want this conversation to be about your love life, you shouldn't have brought it up unprovoked.
hey, now you're cutting me off.
And another thing, do you know why I have such a large property?
Because you like to be left alone.
Because I like to be left alone indeed. But I didn't want to be rude, so I let you in. Do you want my advice or not?
First you're mad, and now you're offering me advice?
I feel obligated to Rachel. You're much too old to be this naive.
Well, thank you. I think.
Never date a man in the military.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with this.
What can I say? I would know best.
This is true. Is he still out?
He'll be here any minute.
Why do you still say that? Where is he?
Do you want to let me finish my story?
Weren't we talking about...
We still are. Present tense, Rachel, really. Anyhow, one day I went to the door and it was a soldier, and he was holding a letter. It looked like all of my husband's letters, but this one was being hand-delivered.
Why? Was he missing in action?
No, but it was the last letter he would send me during the war. They told me they found it in the wreckage of his ship.
No! His ship sank?
Yes. And almost all the crew had died. The note was wet, but still legible. The waves are crashing. Captain says we're going down. Oh, my love, don't wait for me, for I'll be gone before the morning comes around.
Where did they find this letter? In his cabin or under his bed?
In his hands,
When they rescued him?
when they found him.
He died? Then why did you say that he would be here any minute?
Because he's coming to get me, to deliver my soul to eternity with him. Any minute.
Margaret grows weak and faints. Rachel runs over to her and knocks the teacup out of her hand.
Was that poison?
I didn't expect it to end this way.
Suicide?
Back in another woman's arms.
Why did you do it?
To be with my beloved postman, of course. He'll come for me and lead my soul to the afterlife, where I can finally be with him after all these lonely years.
I have to call for help.
Don't. I need you to leave.
You need an ambulance.
I called one before you got here. My will is in my dresser, and they will find it, but you can't be here when they arrive. You need to go now.
But...
Please.
Margaret looks at Rachel, who looks back. Rachel nods and lets go of Margaret, then rushes out the door. Margaret gets up, grabs the photo, and carries it weakly to the couch. She plops down and stares at it with a loving smile. The postman enters and walks over to the couch, sits down, and holds Margaret's hand.
I thought you would never show up.
I don't go out on Sundays. Remember?
They smile at each other, and she rests her head on his shoulder as she closes her eyes and passes away. Lights out.